This video is to demonstrate what to do if the cable has become dislocated in the top of your flowtech tripod up here. Now, you'll know if that's happened because the paddle lever will stop in a position where it hasn't fully closed. It will either stop almost fully open or it will stop with a gap of about 1/2 inch or a centimetre here. If that happens, do not force it closed by pushing harder and harder, because that will eventually damage this paddle lever moulding and you'll see breakage marks on there. So if this happens, the good news is it's very simple to put right. You just need a Torx 20 screwdriver and a pair of narrow-nosed pliers. So just open your tripod up with the leg in question in front of you, and there's a cover on the back here. On the 75mm tripod there's 3 screws, on the 100mm there's 4 screws. You need to remove those screws and then remove the cover. And then if you open up the paddle lever, you will see that there is this yoke here which holds the pin which locates in the end of the cable, as the tripod cable assembly. And what's happened is this pin has become dislocated from the seat that it's meant to sit in. The reason why that's most likely happened is if you've got a lot of dirt or mud jammed into the bottom of the tripod where the lower brake assembly is, and it's stopping that lower brake from returning to its correct position. So it's normally an issue of keeping the tripod nice and clean inside by flushing it with water if you've used it in muddy or sandy conditions. You just need to take a pair of narrow-nosed pliers and get hold of the cable assembly and just pull it back into its correct seated position. You'll note that this pin has got a big head on one end and a smaller end here. It's just make sure you get the pin the right way round and fully seated. It needs to drop properly into the location. You'll hear it drop in and it will look right, nice and parallel. And at that point you will see that the paddle lever will then operate the brake cable properly. Then it's just a case of putting the cover back on. Just line it up and push it on with your fingers. 2 longer screws go at the bottom. Now these screws are working in a thread that is cut into the aluminium that they're screwing into. So it's important when you put the screws back in to find the original thread, normally just by going in reverse slightly and then doing them up. And it's also very important not to over tighten them, so just tighten them down until you feel it going tight and then just give it a little nip. Particularly the 2 top screws, which got much shorter threads on them, so if you over tighten them you will strip the threads in the aluminium casting and then it won't hold together as nicely. So just be careful as you do the screws back up. That should now work perfectly.